I'm hitting a wall. I'm getting no responses after I share my offer details. What's worked for you, if anything, to keep the conversation open? And this is how I responded. I said, what I like to do at this point is take a look at the offer itself. So you already have an offer, you've put it out there. Perhaps you're taking my 5 day challenge inside of your first 5K for free, and you're on day 2 or 3 where you're putting it out there, but you're not hearing back from people. So this is what I like to do. I like to diagnose the problem. Is it a painkiller or a vitamin? Meaning, is it something that is urgently needed and it will get someone out of pain? Or is it a nice to have vitamin that is still important, but can be taken on or off and not with the same intensity as a medicine? So when you think about your offer, if you're not selling, you have to ask yourself, why now? Why this offer and why me? What are my customers, my potential customers thinking? The next thing I say is if the offer is amazing and it is a painkiller, am I describing it in a clear way where people understand the transformation they're going to get? Because it could be this great offer, but the way that I'm describing it does not seem that great. It doesn't seem differentiated. So it's about how you frame it and how you make sure people understand, hey, you're not just getting a product, you're going to get a transformation. It is going to change something from you. You're going to get out of pain and it's going to make your life different in some way. That is how you get people to pay attention, to look up in a sea of offers that they have options. And then the transformation part is a lot of times we will just say, hey, I have your first 5K. I have the membership. I have this consulting calls, whatever. And we don't say, do you want to change what your bank account looks like? Is your bank account not up to par right now? And you want to have the bank balance that you deserve and want? Or do you need to pay rent by Monday? This is how you do it, right? So I'm in pain right now and something is going to transform that. And that does not mean that your offer has to be about making money. That simply is my offer, but your offer could be about something health and wellness. It could be about a makeover. It could be about relationships. It could be anything that you're working on. Photography, walking dogs, anything that you're working on, your offer needs to transition someone out of pain. Then, if that is up to par, the painkiller issue, the way I'm describing it, then if that's a yes, do I have it in front of enough people? If I showed it to 10 people and got crickets, is that enough? Or do I need to get it in front of dozens or hundreds? Now, there is this rule or idea that if you have an offer, first of all, I'll say this, a lot of people are not making enough phone calls. And I know that sounds daunting. And I don't mean picking up the phone and cold dialing people and saying, hey, I'm, selling people like you don't like to get sold. Not like that. What I mean is perhaps you put up a post or you put up a YouTube video or you put something out there like I talk about in day 2 of this free 5 day challenge. The link is in the description below for your first 5K. And I talk about different multiple ways you can reach out to people and get in front of people, even if you're not reaching out. And then you get you get their attention and they say, I have interest in this. And they either click on a link to have a one-on-one call with you that is free, or they reach out to you in the DMs or some way in the comments, and you talk to them and say, hey, would you like to get on a call so we can talk about this? Or, hey, let me do an audio message to you back and forth in the DMs and Instagram, etc. And I teach you how to do this, what to say, all of that in the challenge that is free. But what a lot of people don't realize is they think that they need to charge for these calls and that has to be their offer. Yes, your offer can be a one-on-one. And it can be, we have a lot of people in the challenge who are having $100 one-on-one calls and they're doing great. But if your product is not moving, sound like a drug dealer. But if your product is not moving, You need to get on some calls. You need to get on some Zooms. You need to talk to people. And you just simply have a conversation where you're listening for 70% or more of the time. Did you catch that? What percentage did I say? Say the number in the chat, in the comments. I said 70%, right? So you're going to do mostly listening to find out what that customer is really needing. And yes, you have an offer, but potentially you could move, tweak that offer to be really what they need. And it may even end up being more expensive or less expensive, or they may not even need it. And you can tell them that, and that takes you a long way. So if you have these calls, but you have two or three of them and you say, oh, it's not working, I'm hearing crickets. It's because you're not having enough. You're not in front of enough people to begin with. And that's usually the case. You just don't, you're not in front of enough people. You're saying, okay, I'm going to do one of those things that I learned about traffic, but I'm not going to do all of them. Do multiple times. Keep going with it, right? And then once you have someone's attention, have a conversation. It may not be a full-on phone call or Zoom call, which I highly recommend it is. Your life will change when you start doing that. But if you're really shy or you're just not feeling that, you can do some DMs back and forth. So have more. And so there's this rule, there's this kind of guide, not a rule, but a guideline that in order to know if your product or your service, your offer is a viable one, to get enough information to know if it's good or bad, you need to have at least 30 one-on-one phone or Zoom conversations for that offer, where you directly pitch that offer, and you don't have to pitch it as soon as you get on the call. You're listening, you're deciding, oh, I think they would benefit from this, so I am going to tell them about it. 30 of those. And if you haven't had 30 of those yet, then you simply don't have enough information to know if your offer is viable. And then the last thing I said to this person, this member, is get a couple of people on a call, don't sell them, just ask their opinions and find out what they really need right now. So when I talked about the calls before, when I said get that direct offer, you also want to have just a couple of calls at the beginning or in the middle that are simply for you to get information. You want to get a pulse on things. You could say, you post on Instagram or LinkedIn or have a YouTube video or post in your school. You could say, or your email list, you could say, I am going to have a call. I want to have a call with three of my readers or three of my members or three entrepreneurs or three dog owners, right? And I want to find out the number one pain point they have, or the number one thing that's holding them back, or the number one thing they wish existed, right? Like you're going to frame it in a way to say, like, I'm doing a little bit of a survey, a little bit of an interview of you. And then put a link to where they can reach you. Is it a Zoom link? Is it a Calendly? Is it a Stand Store one-on-one that's free? Don't charge them for it. Get on a call and take notes. Take feverish notes and just ask them questions and listen. Ask them questions and listen. When you have three of those calls, you're going to have so much more of an understanding of who you are inside that market, and what your customer truly needs. And if you have previous customers, even better, jump on a call with them. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to ask you a couple questions and see da 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 da. And this is really great for beginners. And this is really great for people who are used to selling, have sold a bunch, because we forget to do this. Anytime I do this, no matter how many millions of dollars I've made, which I have, anytime I do this, I learn something and I'm able to be really, really sharp and focused with my next offer or with this offer. I learn so much. So I do it constantly. So that is what you want to do if you're hitting a wall or if you're hearing quote unquote crickets. You don't want to give up. You don't want to throw the offer away and say it's trash. You don't want to say, oh, these people just don't get it. You want to be an investigative reporter. You want to do a little bit of figuring out as a journalist, as a curious person, where does this stand in the grand scheme of things? Am I on the right path? And is it I'm on the right path and I simply have not reached enough people, or I haven't described it enough in the right way, or it is the right kind of premise, but it's not the right delivery of that offer? Maybe you think it needs to be 6 weeks one-on-one consulting, and your audience really would just like an AI tool that helps them overnight. You don't know until you really start having these conversations. Say the word conversation in the chat if you are hearing me, if that makes sense. And tell me, are you going to get on a call? Has this inspired you to think through, oh, let me get on a few calls, or let me change the way I describe this? Now, if you've already figured out what you're going to do, cool, go do it, go implement. If you haven't, I want you to go into the 5 day challenge inside of your first 5K and take it. First of all, no matter how seasoned you are, take it. The more seasoned you are, the faster you probably will do well. Okay. The more beginner you are, the faster you'll learn, the more you'll learn really fast. Okay. Then I now announced a new tier inside of your first 5K, which is called the 360 Pass. And if you're interested in that, I want to tell you just a little bit about it because, especially for those of you who have purchased any of my products, if you have any of my OSs, my operating systems, you know, if you're in Stan OS, YouTube OS, if you're in Prompt Shop in a Box, you know the quality. And I want you to see this. I don't want you to miss it. So this is the 360 Pass. It's a VIP tier inside of your first 5K. And all you do is there's different links you can click on. There's a link over here you can click on. But let me tell you what it does for you. So what this does is it puts everything in your hands. So you don't have to worry about upgrading again. On the screen here you can see, you can pause this and see what's in it. You don't have to worry about upgrading again. You don't have to worry about, oh, should I get that product of Arlen's or should I get that one over there? I don't know which one to get. This gives you all of the OSs. So if you see here, it gives you YouTube, Stan, Lovable, AI Consultant OS, Prompt Shop in a Box, and it gives you 360 plug and profit credits. And listen to me, this is my favorite part. Every new OS release in 2026. I was inspired by Maria Wendt, who is what she's doing is she's going to have 15 people who are going to get the opportunity to buy a pass to everything that she releases, like all of her courses this year. And I think it's going to be in the few thousands. I'm just assuming that because it's only 15 people. What I wanted to do, and I told her this, is I wanted to be the opposite. I wanted it to be very, very accessible pricing for a lot of people, but the same premise. You getting every release that I have that is an OS, not every single thing, but like an OS, and that's what I'm going to be focused on because these are so, so powerful. And if you're wondering what exactly is it, I don't quite understand. So this is one of them. This is YouTube OS. So when you go here, you actually get this whole control panel and I update it constantly. So you get channel setup, you get 21 AI tools that help you create your channel, get your video strategy, your content pipeline. It's a thumbnail lab, and there's training. You see there's videos in these. So there's training, there's a title lab, is experiments section, which is another lab, which is really cool. And then all about monetization, everything, YouTube partner, your own offer, affiliate, sponsorships, and AI tools for each one of them. Let me show you what I mean. Like if you go to, let's say affiliates, this tool will find all of the affiliate programs that make sense for your niche and list them off to you. And then there's another one that keeps going with sponsorships, how to reach out to them, gives you the email, everything. It's everything. Collaborations, templates, all kinds of things here. And there's a library here for your descriptions, your hooks, your CTAs, everything you need for your channel. And that is just one of the OSs. So if you're into YouTube or you're trying to start, That is just amazing. And then you get all of these. So here's what I've been telling people. Don't worry about, uh, oh, I got to like learn all this stuff. No, you get this when you go to the library. Do you, when you go to the library, do you read every book in the library? Of course you don't. When you go to the store, do you buy everything and use it? No. But what if you could go to the library and they said to you, this library is yours now. Here are the keys. Then you would go every day and you would look at a book, or you would spend a few weeks on a book, and then you go to the next one and you'd have a couple going and you'd have access to it when you need it. And if somebody mentioned something, you'd say, oh, I have that. Let me go and find it and I'll just read it. That's what this is. So you get all of the stuff and then you have the resource, the access to it. Now here's the cool part. All of it's cool, but here's a really cool part. Every Tuesday, starting yesterday, we did our first one the same day I launched this. We have a 1 hour implementation call with me. So you get on a call with me on a meeting, not a webinar. It's a meeting, so we get to see each other. You can be off camera if you want, or you can be on camera. And then it's us in a group. And I go through at least one operating system and we talk about how it works. I show you how it works, even though there already is training in it. And then the most important part is an implementation. So we have next steps. We do things. We have weekly accountability. So you actually do something with it. You get further faster. Yesterday I audited someone's YouTube channel. Actually, I'll show you that. Someone posted about how they love that. Let's see. So where did I put this? Yeah, this one. So Crystal, who's in Prop Shop in a Box, she said, I jumped on this so fast, a 360 pass. The first meeting was incredible. I learned so much from the YouTube channel audit. And it wasn't even her audit. I audited someone else's channel in front of her. I went for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And I went back and I said, this is what you do with the title. This is what you do with the thumbnail. This is how you change this. This is what people pay me thousands of dollars to do. Thousands of dollars to do what I did there. And then Krista, by watching it, she was able to get so much out of that. So it's really cool. It's a whole system. And some people are like, I feel will be overwhelmed by that and say, oh, that's so much, so many, one more choice to make. But I think when the dust settles, you'll realize, oh, actually, I just have the keys to the library or the keys to a tool chest. And now I can just go in there and not worry that I'm missing something. And then remember, anything that I add to it will go in there. So any OS that I do will go into, in 2026, will go into that. So you'll get all the latest releases, everything that I'm working on. There's a Stan OS in there, Stan Store. I have made nearly 300,000 in there since April or May of 2025. So just a few months. I won the Stan competition in about, I don't know, a few hours. I'm jumping on a plane to go to New York from Los Angeles because I was number 3 in that competition, and the top 10 are meeting with Gary V and Stan in the Gary V headquarters. So they have the Stan OS that teaches you everything about digital products. So inside of the 360, think about what I told you earlier. If you're still here, this is going to be really helpful, I hope. The pain point. What's the pain point? Well, a couple of things. One pain point is you may be a little bit overwhelmed and confused about which of my products to have, or just in general, how to decide what to do next and what to do. Another pain point may be you don't have thousands of dollars to spend on another course or another mastermind or another group of courses, like, all year long when people are releasing stuff and I'm releasing stuff. You may not be, oh, now I got to get another 100, and I got to get another 300. Another pain point may be that you are looking for a way to make money quickly and sustainably. So now and in the future. Is that right? Like, sustainably is the key word. If you are looking for sustainable income, I want you to write the word purple. Purple if you're looking for now income and sustainable long term. Then you have the pain point of, if you don't know how to do that, that's your pain point. So there's a few pain points that I'm addressing in this. And then when it comes to the clarity of it, you'd have to tell me if it's clear. So it's a 360 pass. You pay $360 and you have access to all of my current OSs and all of my future OSs in 2026. Is that clear? Let me know. And if it's not, then I need to work on that, right? It is selling quite well, so I don't feel like it is unclear, but I can always learn. And then I'm thinking about, is it in front of enough people? Well, what I'm doing right now is putting it in front of more people by putting it on YouTube. I first shared it with my current members because they deserve that, to have that first dibs. And now I'm going to take it wider and I'm taking it to my email list, taking it to YouTube, taking it even further. I'll probably put something up on Instagram at some point and LinkedIn, but I won't do that right away. I'm going to do it in kind of an order. And then yeah, I think we covered it. Or it's in front of enough people. Am I having calls? Now, if I were struggling, let's say it's 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months from now, and it's just no longer selling. It's just like nobody's buying it, which I don't think is going to happen because it's doing quite well. But anyway, let's say that were happening because it could. You know what I would do? I bet you can guess because you watched this video. I would get on a call with 10 different people from my different memberships who are at beginners, intermediate, advanced. And I would just have a conversation with them and I would talk about it and I would say, what is your paper? Because I would look for what is missing. Let me give you another example of this. Um, so I yeah, cool. So a few months ago in October, I got receipts for everything, by the way. A few months ago, so this is your first 5K, 9.8 thousand members. We're going to hit 10,000 today, which is so cool. Um, October 2025, I put up a post in your first 5K when we had about maybe 2,000 people. And I said, I'm going to add a VIP tier to your first 5K. If you'd consider upgrading to it, what would you like to see in it? Another way to say this is, what would make your first 5K a VIP experience for you? Serious and silly answers allowed. So I'm doing what I just told you to do, which is hear from my audience, like hear from them. And so what I did was people responded and amazing, amazing, amazing. So here's what I did. I'm telling you this for the first time. People in your first 5K don't even realize this. If you're in it, now you do. What I did was people gave some incredible answers. I let it run for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And then I copied it. And then I put the comments into ChatGPT 5.2 at this point. And I said, tell me the top 10 things people are saying, not just what they're saying, because they can just I can find that, but like the sentiment, the thing, I'm distilling it. So I looked at it and I did two major things with this. This is going to help so many people. Oh, please listen to this. Two major things. One thing I did was I simply looked at the list and the top three things were very much similar and they were about like accountability and access to me and auditing of what they're already doing, looking at what they're already doing. So what I did was I already knew what I wanted to do with the VIP tier, the 360. I knew, and this has all happened like really fast, right? I knew that. But before I launched it, I added every Tuesday in 2026, we will have an implementation call so that it's not just a collection of stuff. Because I went back to that, even though I did it months ago, I went back to it and I said, this is what people want. This is what they need in order to be successful. And you want them to be successful with your product, no matter what type of product it is, so that it also feeds itself and people tell other people without you having to do all of the work. So, and also because the more successful people are with your product, the better your product is. And don't you want that? And don't you want your customers to do well, no matter what the topic? So I did that. I was able to use that to, oh, I'm going to implement these implementation calls. Yesterday, you saw with that, with what Crystal said, I did a YouTube audit because people were saying audits, audits, audits. So I implemented that. And I don't even know if people realize that that's where it came from. And the second thing I did, which is even more nuanced and even, it's just as powerful, is that I also said, I looked at that top 10 list because I could have gone really deep with it with ChatGPT and had all kinds of stuff. I didn't want to be just kind of sitting on an idea. I wanted to move, implement. So I looked at that list after I said, okay, the major thing's pretty simple. I'm gonna do a call. I'll have to, that's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm not gonna do a monthly because it's not fat soon enough. People need help now, so I'll do it weekly, you know? But also what I did was I said, what are people saying? So I looked at it and it had some quotes and it had like the distilling of what people were asking for. So I used some of the language that people used 3 months ago in my post about the 360 launch because your customers and your potential customers and your members and your audience, they're telling you verbatim what they need and what they want. In my comments on YouTube, verbatim, I'm being told what you need and what you want. And if I can use the same language and say, yeah, actually we're doing that. Actually we're doing that. Then again, I can always just show you what I mean. So here's what I mean. So I had this information here, and then you have introducing the past. And if you scroll down, here's more where I talk about the Tuesday implementation calls and I pin this post. Live Q&A, live teaching, live feedback, live wins and tweak sessions. These words are from the answers of the survey. So you don't just have a bunch of stuff. Well, actually, this is mine. I wrote this part. But these words are what people answered individually. This is what I want. I want live Q&A. I want live teaching. I want live feedback. I want live wins and tweaks section. You know, then the next one was hot seats for personalized clarity and direction, where it feels, and this was one, and then someone else says, I want it to feel like I'm getting one-on-one coaching. Or maybe they said, I want one-on-one coaching. So I wanted to say, I want it to feel like it, which people are now getting. And then on the spot audits of their YouTube channels, and then, you know, different things. And then this was directly from it. You feedback on posts, ideas, and positioning. And then here's another one. Clear step-by-step implementation and granularity. Exact how-tos, no fluff, no guessing, roadmaps, checklists. Do you see what I'm saying? These are from words that people said. So if your product is not selling, you need to have more conversation in some way or another. You need to hear from your people. Do a survey, get on some calls, get in front of more people, put yourself out there more. You're doing a great job. It's just that you need more people for your hypothesis, for your science experiment, right? Does that make sense? Go out there and take 50% of your time learning, watching these videos, taking notes, and take 50% of your time and do it. Do something about it. I am proud of you, and I know that you can do this. You're just one step away, okay? So you're one call away, I think. Join your first 5K for free. You get a ton of stuff for free in there, including the challenge, and we're having a great time. And be in our 10,000. It's amazing. I'll see you soon.